Hello, for this activity I have chosen to focus on the evolution of technology in the K-12 classroom over the last 100 years. In the 1900s, as paper and pencils began to be mass-produced, pencils made their way into the classroom and eventually replaced the slate. In 1905, the Keystone Viewing Company introduced the stereoscope, a three-dimensional viewing tool that was originally used as a form of home entertainment. Keystone began to market the stereoscope to schools and developed educational sets that contained hundreds of images that teachers could use to illustrate key concepts that were covered in their lessons. In 1910, educational films were adopted for regular instructional use in the classroom. As film's popularity grew, teacher training institutions included visual instruction courses as part of their training curriculum. Thomas Edison predicted that educational film would replace the textbook within 10 years, a prediction that never came to light. In the 1920s, teachers utilized radio in the classroom to supplement their lessons. Educational programs were developed and broadcast several times a week. Teachers could choose from dramatic recreations of history, music, and children's stories. Similar to educational films, radio was heralded as a tool that would revolutionize classroom teaching, but had minimal impact on education. The overhead projector was originally used by the military for training in the 1930s. Eventually, the device made its way into the K-12 classroom. It provided teachers with the opportunity to create and reuse lessons and was a convenient alternative to the blackboard. In the 1940s, the mimeograph became a useful tool for teachers. It allowed them to make copies of lessons, practice sheets, etc. to share with their students. The slide rule was originally designed for use by scientists and engineers. In 1950, the slide rule made its way into the classroom for mathematics instruction. The videotape was integrated into the classroom in the 1950s. Similar to film, videotapes were another medium that supported concepts taught in the class. In the 1960s, there were 50 funded educational television stations that were tasked with the mission of delivering instructional programs. The television was seen as a quick and efficient way to reach a large number of students. However, the quality of the programs was often poor. Classrooms stopped using the television as a method of instruction when the funding was halted. In the 1960s, the teaching machine developed by B.F. Skinner, a behavioral therapist, were introduced into the classroom. The machine provided programmed instruction that allowed students to work independently at their own pace. Students answered a set of standardized questions and received positive reinforcement when they answered the question correctly, while further instruction was offered if they answered incorrectly. Skinner's teaching machines are often thought of as an early form of the computer. The 1970s saw the use of handheld calculators in the classroom. Despite concerns that the calculator could negatively affect basic learning skills, it became widely used in the classroom and paved the way for calculators used in the classroom today. In the 1980s, Plato, a computer-assisted instruction system developed at the University of Illinois, began being used in the classroom. Courses were taught in a range of subjects, including Latin, chemistry, education, music, and primary mathematics. The system had online components such as forums, message boards, online testing, email, chat rooms, instant messaging, remote screen sharing, and multiplayer games. In the 1990s, the blackboard in the classrooms were being replaced with whiteboards, an interactive system using a white screen, projector, and computer for instruction. The introduction of the internet to the general public in the 1990s provided teachers and students with a new way in which to find and explore information on a particular topic. Connections were usually in one area of the school and were often very slow, making it difficult to incorporate into daily lessons. It is hard to imagine a classroom today without the internet. The internet has changed the way in which teachers and students access information and has paved the way for learning management systems such as Google Classroom, online learning, and social connections to enhance learning.